Hello and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this video we're going down to Texas. More specifically, a 25-acre patch of land about a mile from Interstate Highway 45, known as the Texas Killing Fields. What a name! Since the 1970s, over 30 young women and girls have disappeared or been found murdered in the 50-mile desolate area between Houston and Galveston. A stretch of land that's also been called the Highway to Hell. This is ticking all the boxes. Honestly looking like something out of the good season of True Detective, many young girls have also disappeared from the area, never to be seen again, their bodies never recovered. It all began in 1971 when 14-year-old Brenda Jones was last seen on her way to visit her aunt. Her body was found the next day. Over the years, many women have disappeared across Texas, only for their bodies to be discovered here, in the killing fields. The most recent discovered body was in 2016. Jessica Kane disappeared in 1997. She was last seen dining with friends at 1:30 a.m. that night. Her father's truck, which she had been driving, was found abandoned along I-45 South later. It took 19 years for her remains to be found in the Texas killing fields. It is believed that many of the murders and the bodies that are found in the Texas killing fields are the work of serial killers. Duh. Many of the victims were aged 10 to 25 years old, and many shared similar physical features. A few of them had similar hairstyles. Despite exhaustive efforts by Texas police forces, along with the assistance of the FBI, very few of these murders have been solved. The fields have been described as a perfect place for killing somebody and getting away with it. In 1972, Rhonda Johnson and Sharon Shaw were last seen walking along Seawall Boulevard in Galveston. Rhonda's skeletal remains were found in a marsh. Sharon's skull was found elsewhere, and the rest of her remains were found in the marsh also. Ugh. A local man, Michael Lloyd Self, was charged with their murders in 1972 and convicted of Shaw's in 1975, though controversy arose in 1998 when serial killer Edward Harold Bell confessed to the murders. Michael Lloyd Self later died in prison. Debbie Ackerman and Maria Johnson were last seen accepting a ride near an island ice cream shop. Their bodies were found bound and partially nude in the killing fields. Brooks Bracewell and Georgia Gear were last seen at a U-Totem convenience store off the I-45. Their bodies were later found in a ditch. "14-year-old Sandra Ramber disappeared in 1983, last seen at her home not far from the I-45. She was determined to be missing due to the fact that the front door was left open, food was in the oven, and her purse and coat were still in the house. She just vanished. Her body has never been discovered. Suzanne Renee Richardson went missing in October 1988, last seen at her job as a night clerk at the Casa del Mar condominiums at approximately 6 a.m. Other than witnesses hearing a female screaming and a lone shoe found in a parking lot, she also has been never seen again, never heard from again. The investigation has consumed the lives of many Texas cops over the last 4 decades, primarily Brian Gochius and Michael Land from Texas City. 25 years after the string of murders began, in 1996, they became involved in trying to find out who was responsible for the murders when 13-year-old Krystal Baker suddenly vanished. 2 weeks later, her body was found beaten, sexually assaulted and strangled. Her body was then dumped under an interstate bridge. Krystal's body had actually been found the very day she went missing, but in a different county. She was listed as a Jane Doe for 2 weeks before they realized who she was. And then at that point, the case had gone cold and her killer vanished. Not long after, 12-year-old Laura Smither was abducted while jogging on the street. 17 days after Laura disappeared, a man and his son were walking their dogs near the Texas killing fields. They found Laura Smither's nude, decomposing body. 4 months later, another young woman disappeared, Jessica Kane. Her truck was found empty along the I-45, and no one knows what happened. The killing fields have been described as, it's a kind of environment that's sultry and sinister, easy to get to. You jump off the I-45. You drive down one of these dirt-rutted roads. You dump the body, and you're gone for good. One suspect was convicted murderer Edward Harold Bell. Bell claimed in a 1998 letter to police that he murdered 11 girls in Galveston County. Although he was a long-time suspect, prosecutors said they did not have enough evidence to prosecute him. You'd think the letter would be enough, but obviously not. William Lewis Reese, a 58-year-old Texas man, has been named a suspect in 4 of the murders and charged with 3 of them. He's been charged in the murders of Tiffany Johnston, Jessica Kane, and Laura Smither. He is suspected but not charged in the death of Kelly Cox. He was serving a 60-year sentence for kidnapping when he led police to the remains of Kane and Cox. In April 2012, 16 years after Krystal Baker's beaten, raped, and strangled body was found, Kevin Edison Smith was arrested and convicted of murdering her. In 2009, Smith had been arrested on a drug charge in Louisiana. At about the same time, a detective tested Baker's dress for DNA. A match was confirmed using advanced technology that was not available at the time of Krystal's disappearance. A jury deliberated for about 30 minutes and found Smith guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison. But it still remains that many young women who disappeared in the area were never found again. Their bodies were never discovered. And also, there have been many bodies found in the Texas killing fields who were listed as Jane Does. Those cases also remain unsolved to this very day. A movie was made about the killing fields in 2011, called The Texas Killing Fields. After visiting some of the sites of recovered bodies, the director of the film said, "You could actually see the refineries that are in the south. You could see the I-45. But if you yelled, no one would hear you. And if you ran, there wouldn't be anywhere to go." Thanks for watching. Mike out.